Welcome everyone. This video is the discussion prompt for the first School Improvement Council discussion related to the implementation of your school improvement plan. During this video, we will provide an overview of the coming year and instructions for how to participate in this month's discussion. My name is Sue Reynolds and I am president of the American Student Achievement Institute. Okay, so let's begin with that overview of the coming year. So during the first semester, your council will be focusing on the implementation of the school improvement plan that you wrote last year. The first part of that implementation is to update your steering team, and your steering team has already done that. They've updated the membership of the team and also the tasks or the responsibilities of each of those team members. Then in September this month, the first step, which is the step we're doing today, is to kick off those interventions. We know that interventions on paper won't do any good, but if we get those interventions into practice and we do that in a way that's rigorous and robust, those interventions will make a difference. So this month we're focusing on kicking off those interventions, getting them into practice. Then our next council discussion will be in December, and at that point we'll take a look at those interventions to see if the interventions are doing what we want them to do. Are they changing adult practices, the targeted adult practices that the interventions were designed to impact? So in December, the council will be looking at data to really study those interventions and how well they're working. Then, second semester, we change focus. First semester was about implementing this year's plan. During the second semester, we'll start to look at writing the plan for the coming year. So we call that the annual update portion of the year. So the question second semester will be, given who we are now and the new student data that we have, does our current school improvement plan still make sense? Some parts of your school improvement plan will make sense and you'll just keep them. Other parts will need to be tweaked, and some parts may be totally different that you'll need to revise them. So in second semester, in January, your council will begin looking at student achievement data to determine if your goals are still okay, or do you need to change the goals. That may be changing the target in a goal, or omitting a goal, or coming up with a brand new goal. So you'll look at data, you'll look at your current goals, and you'll decide which goals you need to add, omit, or tweak in order for them to make sense for the school year after this school year. So that'll happen in January. Then in February, will come with new student data in terms of root causes, the things that might be getting in the way of your goals. So if you have new goals, we'll look at root cause data for those goals. If you have continuing goals, we'll look at root cause data to see if your interventions have been having an impact on those root causes. So in February, we'll update your root causes, or the things that are getting in the way of your achievement goals. Then in March, the next month, and I see a typo on the screen, we'll get that changed. In March, we'll start looking at your interventions. And the question is kind of the same question. Are the interventions that we have in place still the ones that we want to continue into the coming school year, the year after this year? So we'll look at your root causes and we'll say, okay, do we have a new root cause? If we do, then we're going to need new interventions. Do we have interventions that aren't working and maybe we want to get rid of them or tweak them? So we'll study the interventions in light of your new goals and new root causes, and then adjust the interventions as we need to in order to address those goals and those new root causes. So we'll do that in March. And that will be the last discussion of your council. And then in April and May, your steering team and your faculty will start working on preparing to implement the school improvement plan for the year after this year. So that preparation it involves planning their professional development, their annual calendar, and then also securing resources so that they have what's needed, time, funding, to implement the interventions that are planned for the year after this year. So again, as we look at the overview of this year, each semester has a different focus. The first semester focus is on getting the interventions that you've planned for this year up and running, and then second semester the focus is on updating your school improvement plan so that it is the right plan for the year after this year. Okay, so that's the year as an overview. So let's look at today's discussion, and I'm just going to show you what the discussion page will look like. And so because you're watching this video, you have already discovered the discussion page. But I just want to kind of look at this page. So the tasks for this month are to, one, watch the video that you're watching right now, but then also to review a list of interventions which are at the bottom of this page, and to note which data fields will be used to evaluate each intervention, to kind of make a note of that, and then to indicate the role that you're going to play, each of you as a council member, in helping to implement that intervention. So if you are a teacher, there's certain ways that you're going to be helping implement the interventions. If you're a student, there's certain things that you're going to be doing to help implement that you can do. And if you're a community member, same thing. There's certain things that you can do to help implement the interventions. So if I scroll down, you'll see that underneath the video that you're watching right now, there is just a list of your school's interventions that you have planned for this year. So here's an example. In demo school, one of the interventions was a homework club. And if you're not sure what that means, you can click on description, and that homework club description will pop up so that you kind of have a sense of what that intervention is all about. And again, unless you're new to the council, these were interventions that you planned and discussed last year, so you probably are familiar with them. So under that, we just give you a quick bit of information about the intervention. So whose responsibility is it to make sure that that intervention gets in place? That doesn't mean that that person is necessarily the one doing the implementation. They're just responsible for making sure that the implementation gets in place. And then the implementation date, when is this going to happen? And then the evaluation. We think it's really important as you begin to implement your interventions that everybody knows what the evaluation is going to be like. So this will always start with the prompt, "We will count," and then it will either say the number or the percentage of something. So in this case, with Homework Club, Demo School has decided that they're going to count the number of DF students who attend Homework Club at least once a week. So that'll be a count. And at Demo School, this is a brand new intervention. So right now, the baseline number is 0. And actually, that should be a number and not a percentage. The number is 0. And then the target data is they want 50 students to be attending Homework Club at least once a week. So that's the target. And then in the next section, this text box, the question for you as a council member is, what will you do to help in the implementation of this intervention? So if you're one of the teachers that are going to be facilitating that homework club, or you're the sponsor of the homework club, you would be writing in there what is your role in the intervention. Maybe you're not facilitating or sponsoring the club, but you can help advertise, talk about the club with your students. So you'd be talking about that role. If you're a parent, maybe you can say something like, at the next PTA meeting, I can let all the parents know about the homework club. So we'd like each of you to think about, what could your contribution be in order to make that intervention successful. And then if there's absolutely nothing that you can think of that you could do to help with that intervention, then just click, I am not involved in the implementation of this intervention. But again, our hope is that each of you, from your perspective as a parent, as a student, as a teacher, counselor, that you can all be committing to doing something to help with the successful implementation of that intervention. If I scroll down, then I find the next intervention, in this case an AP enrollment campaign, and again same kind of information. This time we're going to count, the schools decided to count the percentage of students in grades 11 and 12 who enroll in at least one AP course in the coming year. The baseline data was 27% of the students had done that, and our target data was to increase that to 2015, to 35%, and in the year again, 2016 or whenever that target date is. So the question is, what will you do to help implement this intervention? So, okay. So that's it. There's a couple other things that we want to bring to your attention, but the tasks when you finish this webinar, this video, the tasks are to go over here to the council tasks, review the interventions below, note the data targets, and then indicate how you can help with each of those interventions. Okay, so a couple other things to be thinking about. The information that you enter into the system this month will be used to create an implementation plan. So that implementation plan will have a title that says Homework Club, and then it will list all the different folks that are going to help implement that intervention and what they are planning to do. So we just want you to know that your planned contributions toward the implementation of each strategy will appear in a report called the Strategy Implementation Plan. Then the other thing, just looking forward, that we want to make sure that the council members understand is that in December, the council will do a couple things. One is you will study follow-up data that will help you determine the degree to which the strategy was implemented. So we'll look at that implementation plan, and if Jane said that she was going to sponsor the homework club, then we'll check to see, did Jane do that? If Susie said that she was going to talk to all the kids in her homeroom about the homework club, then Susie will have a chance in December to come back and say, yes, I did that. So you as a council will be able to study, did all the parts of the implementation that were planned, did they actually happen? And then the other part of the study is in December, we'll provide, you'll have some data to look at to help you know, did the intervention have the impact that you wanted it to have on the targeted population? So did the adults provide a homework club? Was it provided in a way that students could participate weekly? So we'll be looking at, did the intervention change the adults that it was designed to change? So, and then the other thing we'll ask the council to do in December is we'll ask you to make recommendations regarding in-flight adjustments that may be needed to ensure that the intervention is implemented with integrity. So we know that all interventions, especially new interventions, need to be tweaked as we go along, as we learn more about the intervention and how it was implemented and where we hit roadblocks and all that. So in December also we'll be looking at these interventions to see where do we need to make some in-flight adjustments. Okay, so those things are coming up in December. Right now, what we need the council to do is to look at that list of interventions and to just think about how could you be involved in making sure that that intervention gets implemented with integrity. So, okay, so that's it for the prompt for this month's discussion. And as always, it's wonderful to meet with you via this video. And we know that your council is doing good work for kids, and that with your work we'll see student achievement increase. So thank you very much.